a person who has distortions in their genetics or in their templates that creates a type of consciousness that's out of control sometimes and does horrible things sometimes is very different than a being who has full control of its facilities and chooses to inflict harm because it likes to. Even a being that appears to be in full control of its facilities and chooses to inflict harm because it likes to, this is showing you something. It's showing you a distortion that's equal to being retarded. Because when you recognize that you're part of Source, and you're a face of Source and part of the One, no matter what your level of defect or advantage is, you would not take joy or take absolute privilege in exploiting or harming other things. Now, the Anunnaki races don't have that level of differentiation because they need assistance. The Draconian races are very much the same. There's actually a difference between the consciousness of a Draconian and an Anunnaki. Neither of them have the ability to feel unconditional love or much love. They use love in a way to draw energy from other people because they don't know any better. They don't know how to connect in a way of understanding or empathy. The Draconian races, wherever they manifest in whatever form they manifest, tend to be what appears to be a little slow mentally compared to humans or compared to Anunnaki. There's certain things they just don't get. Like they'll put yourself in your face and they'll inflict yourself, they'll like violate your space and not even realize they're doing it. And you kind of like call them on it and they go, huh? I did something wrong? I did. They'll also, when they want to enforce their will, they will do it by brute force. They'll simply come in and terrorize you and step on you. Anunnaki are a little more shrewd. They have 11 strand capacity reverse, not 10. They're the sly ones. They realize that you can get more, what's the saying, you can get more flies with sugar than you can with vinegar. And they'll kiss up to you. They'll be your best buddy and best friend. And they'll twist your mind in knots while they're sucking your energy. Both of these races have a lot of problems. Now, the problems were trying to be solved ever since these races were created. These problems were created before these races were created. It started with the Elohim Wars 250 billion years ago, when Stargate 12 was blown up. This is when the mess really started. Humans were created as part of the healing mission, and we took on a big burden when we did it. We came in as ascended masters who were willing to put ourselves right in the middle of the battlefield, and knowing that we might lose ourselves in the process because we had a lot of odds stacked against us. But we also knew we had the power of love, the ability to create vibrational harmonization all the way up the spectrum. So we knew when we came in, despite who won the little battles here and there, eventually we'd win the war. And winning that war would be turning it into where there was no war, because everybody recognized they were part of the same family and started to act in love again. That's the objective and the purpose humans were created for. We all carry that imprint with us. And what's interesting is there were several attempts to assist the fallen races. And in their evolution, in their individuation from the fallen Anu Elohim and fallen Seraphim matrices of density 4, some of the Draconian and some of the Anunnaki races had what was almost close to free will, not quite. They were still controlled like puppets on a string by their controlling matrices. But they developed attributes where they began to see themselves as separate, and some of them made choices to enter the Emerald Covenant. Well, because the fallen matrices are very dependent on not losing any of their energy units, because they look at them as expendable, as expendable life forms, but absolutely essential energy essence that they need. If they have all of their people, once they put them in Anunnaki form, going and joining the Emerald Covenant, they're going to lose all of the energy quantity that they need to sustain themselves perpetually in this time matrix. So when the Anunnaki and the Draconian races, portions of them, that would make agreements with the founders that they wanted to get their ability to become a Christed race back, they wanted out of the game, they didn't want to play anymore, they became major targets to the races to the matrices that they had incarnated out of. Over and over there have been what we call bioregenesis programs, where attempts were made to combine the Anunnaki or the Draconian, or both, with beings or races that held the Christos imprint, which means they had the 12th strand pattern. Humans were the primary race in this matrix that held the 12-strand pattern. So there was there were hybridization programs done. Now hybridization is interesting. It's a very specific process of combining DNA templates, first of all. And there were several layers of this done in different seedings. The humans on Earth were seeded here about 250 million years ago on parallel Earth. About 25 million years ago, they were seeded on this Earth. There have been 3 seedings of humans here. This is the 3rd seeding, because the first 2 were destroyed by Anunnaki races and Draconian races.